Hello, my name is Palli. I'm the creator of the Tornado Bind, better known as the DNA, currently the most viral yo-yo trick in the world right now.
Boom. Hey, welcome to PopCast, a crowd-sponsored yo-yo show. My name is Dr. Popular, and I like to learn a lot about the history of yo-yoing and yo-yo tricks and talk to other yo-yo creators. And I'm excited today to talk to Palli, the creator of the Tornado Bind, also known as the DNA, the new walk the dog on TikTok, the most popular trick on TikTok. Palli, how are you doing today?
I'm just fantastic. Finally got some free time and decided to spend it on an interview with the doctor.
With the doctor? I want to see that shirt. I love that shirt. Can you just kind of...
Oh, yeah. It's feeling vintage now. It's like all these holes in it now. And
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So talking about vintage, Palli, when did you get into yo-yoing and kind of what was the story of how you got into it?
Originally, I started probably around 6. And I had one yo-yo and then it broke. So I never touched it again for many years. But then I got reconnected with yo-yos because I saw a yo-yo in a shop one day and I felt really nostalgic and started to learn some tricks. And I was using Ken's World on a string. And I just kind of got hooked on the forums and stuff because we had the internet, starting to get popular and stuff.
So when was that? When was Ken's World on the string and you getting into it kind of online?
I think probably 04.
Okay.
I guess we already had Master Magic with Andre, but the first website I found was Ken's World on a string. But then I moved over to Master Magic right after, I found a little bit more about it.
Yeah. And, I introduced you as the creator of the Tornado Bind. I feel like that's underselling. You've created some other tricks. I'm sure, right? I know you've been an influential player. What are some of the other things that you kind of are proud of before we dive into the Tornado Bind?
When I was playing a lot, folding gates were kind of a thing, And me and Adam Brewster, we were the first ones to do really technical folding gate tricks, not only from trapeze and stuff. So I would say this concept of folding gates is kind of just died out, but that was one of my earlier achievements that I'm proud of. And then also I along with probably Andrew Bergen, we innovated a lot of all the 3D suicide kind of tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have I did a bunch of lacerations. I think I was the first person to do a double green triangle laceration straight into a double GT.
Mm-hmm.
There were some where you could did a normal triangle and you pulled through, but I think I did the first double GT laceration, and I think I also did the first star laceration that had actually five points.
It sounds like you were kind of interested in breaking planes pretty frequently. I mean, 3D is just sort of the idea. I don't think we use that term too much now. We might, but just the idea that we usually kind of stick on this one horizontal plane. X, Y, right? And let's mess things up. Let's push things forward and do stuff like that. Folds also would have taken that kind of element of adding depth to it. But, 3D suicides and stuff would definitely do that. And I think the trick that we're going to talk about now, the Tornado Bind, definitely has that, right? You're talking about kind of at least being off the normal plane, but also kind of taking your hand and moving it intentionally away from that plane. Can you tell us about the Tornado Bind? How you kind of first found that?
We have to go way back, and we're gonna start by talking about Grindwinders. which are literally just like sidewinders with the grind. So instead of doing a sidewinder and just like catching it, I would always just like, I guess in the beginning, I would just like pump it a little bit with my hand, just like for extra flair and for fun. And I never really considered it like a new trick or anything. And then the yo-yos got a little bit better, so you could like grind them like for some times. So I started doing those like, sidewinder with the grinds, which I called Grindwinders, which is like the origin of the tornado elements. And I never considered it like its own trick, and I never considered it cool because I thought it was just like some extra flair that I did with the sidewinders. And then I just like remember being at some UK nationals, I think 2010 or 2011. I was just doing those things, and all the guys were like, "Wow, that's so insane! Like, how do you do that? It's like winding up in your hand." Then the next thing is that I just tried to do it horizontally, and that's how you got the tornado.
So I want to be clear here with the Grindwinder. You were doing kind of a palm grind.
So what I would do is that I would like do a sidewinder, and as it's like winding into my hand, I would just like grind it like this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Okay.
So I would catch it and it would go from like this to this while winding.
And probably from a power throw, right? Not side style.
Oh, you can do both. Mm-hmm. And I also did like I would catch it like this and grab it like here under.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing you do that.
So I did like a bunch of variations of it, and I feel like with the DNA that people do now is like from a fingerspin, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the same time, I was popularizing the Grindwinders and stuff. Kota was like innovating like the modern fingerspins that we know, like Kota Watanabe from Team Duncan. And it just like felt so natural to like mix those two elements together, because like they were appearing like maybe in 1 year difference from each other. So I'm not sure who did originally like a fingerspin to the tornado.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of people did it at the same time, because we had those like two trick elements coming up at the same time. So I can't credit myself for doing that, but like the original concept of making like the DNA tornado shape is So like the modern one is based off of my like palm grind to the tornado.
Yeah. So for the first one, you were kind of just pulling it up like a sidewinder, and then just kind of doing a nice little grind for a second and kind of scooping it in. It sounds like for the horizontal version, you would throw a UFO and then palms, like you would just kind of like let it spin on your palm.
Yep.
Open palm.
Spin on the palm, and then it just like wrap around.
Throw your bind, bring your hand up, and then just bring them together. Tornado is a great name for that. Like, are you kind of
it's
bummed? I mean, DNA is also a good name. They're both good names, but are you bummed about the name change?
Not really, because the original name I gave it was horizontal grindwinder, and that felt too long.
Mm-hmm. That's a terrible
name. So
I
just
Palli.
like shortened it to tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like the original one is grindwinder. That's a great name, but like if you're adding the horizontal grindwinder, it's like kind of too much. So I went to tornado bind, but I had a lot of like people that I showed it to be like, "Oh, it looks like a DNA."
Mm-hmm.
Even way before the DNA became like the new name. Like I had a lot of my like non-yo-yo friends that were like, "Oh, can you do the DNA?" Which was really interesting, because like I guess it reminds people more of a DNA than a tornado.
Yeah. Can you give me a year, or possibly even like kind of a month and year of the horizontal grindwinder?
I would say probably it's so difficult to remember when I was doing them for the first time, because like I never really considered it a new trick. I thought it was just like some extra flair,
Mm-hmm.
I guess like if I would have to guess, I started doing the original Grindwinders like probably 2008 or 7.
Okay.
And then I have no idea when I decided let's try to do it horizontally.
Yeah.
It just like happened in some time between like 07, 08, between 2010.
And just kind of curious, so you're doing horizontal grindwinder. Are you throwing a slack, or was it kind of a responsive yo-yo that you were using?
It was all on like unresponsive yo-yos originally, so I was throwing the slack.
Yeah.
You can do them like from a horizontal side throw and like across your body, like both work. You just have to do the different bind. One has you throw the string in, and the other one is like you wrap around. So I was doing both of those, and I would even like do, the horizontal like open slack binds where you just like throw the string into the yo-yo mid-air. Like I would do those, like pop the hand up and like catch it.
Yeah.
And I had so many different variations of it.
And what yo-yo were you? Was there like a yo-yo that this trick worked really well for?
No, I like when I was doing them, I was like using yo-yos that were really bad for those tricks.
Yeah.
Like I think I was using like originally probably like a woolly marmot or like a narwhal.
Like a nickel-plated, extra grippy.
No, not like nickel plated, but they were like really small, and like smaller yo-yos are like usually like kind of harder to like catch for grinds and stuff. And like even when I was doing the fingerspins ones, I was using a woolly marmot, and that doesn't even have a flat hub. It's like it has like a post in the middle, and then the hub itself is like how do you call it, convex. So it was like super bad for balancing on your finger. But I guess when you learn it on the yo-yo, it's hard to land on. It's like a lot easier to like do it on anything else.
So you mentioned that before this call, you mentioned that we talked about this. There was another person who was also kind of doing this that gets like often gets credited as like co-creator or creator of the tornado bind, and you were kind of telling me a little bit about that. Sure. Do you mind going into that?
So I remember the first time I saw him do it.
Who was the player?
So what? It's Wu Ho from Australia.
Okay.
So Wu is a really, really innovative, good player. But what happens is that I competed at Worlds that year, and I didn't get through. Like I think I was 1 or 2 spots away from making the finals. But in my semifinals, I was going to do, the grindwinder from a regular throw, and I was like saving the horizontal version for my final freestyle. But since I never got into finals, I just like showed some of my friends. Like I remember I was showing to Peter Kafka and some other people like the horizontal version, and he was like, that's the best trick I've ever seen. And I was gonna say it for the finals, so I couldn't show it up to finals. And then on my Facebook feed, I see like, I never was video recorded, my version, or like I didn't do it in a freestyle yet. But I had that semifinals with the regular grindwinner, and I see on my Facebook wall that Wu Ho posts like, oh, this trick is inspired by Palli's semifinal trick. So he did my trick, but horizontally. And I was like, oh, that's the trick I was going to do for my finals. So that's why, since he has like officially the first video of it being horizontal, I guess you could credit him as a kind of co-creator, because he was the first one to release it online. but it's something I had done before. So it's like it's kind of like a gray area who to credit for it, because I really don't have any proof except like a word of mouth, you know.
So the DNA, as it's called now, do you know when that name switched and who kind of like started using the term DNA?
Honestly, I'm not sure. It was TikTok.
Definitely TikTok.
I don't know. I think it was Gentry, and somebody commented like, "Whoa, the yo-yo went actually like," and then it was like DNA emoji, and then I guess like Gentry responded to that comment, and then it just like caught on, and everyone started to call it like the DNA emoji, and then it just like, which is cool. Like I kind of like the DNA for the name, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's certainly caught on, and having anything in our yo-yo careers become staples is like hella cool. Like I'm super, every time I see someone do like a little gyroscopic flop or like branding or something, I'm like, whoops, so lucky. Like they don't know I'm watching it, they're not doing it for me, they're just doing it because they're doing it, right? So like every time you open TikTok and like, or even Instagram or pretty much any yo-yo vlog on YouTube starts off with, hey dudes, what's up? And it's got that, you get to see a little DNA every single time. That's super cool.
Yeah. I like I finally understand how you feel. Like even I, when I was starting out, like I used to name my tricks really, like the names of my tricks were really inspired by your tricks. Like I had a trick called like strawberry ironing board, and kind of inspired by like the purple monkey dishwasher and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I would say at this point, DNA is probably more popular than any of the tricks I've created. I'm not sure, it's hard to quantify, but it seems like you've now got like a staple. I guess you're not going to see it for whatever reason at like required compulsories, but I guess because we don't do compulsories anymore.
Yeah, and it doesn't really score extra points. It's like and like during contests, it messes with your string tension, so you have to make sure to do like like either another kind of a DNA trick from the other side of the spin or something to like correct it, or you can just like do it at the end. I don't know, but I definitely think like the potential of the trick has not been fully like realized. There's like so many other variations that still haven't been found.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I mentioned gyroscopic flop and branding or whatever. Like those are tricks I feel like are beginnings of things. Like, oh, cool, there's a new thing. There's always new stuff in them. And we were just going through the history of horizontal yo-yoing and how players like Black in like 2002, was doing gyroscopic flop to go up and then do his little spin or whatever. Like it unlocked things. And I'm kind of waiting for that too with the, like you're saying, with the tornado bind. Like right now it feels like destination, right? It feels like here's a tornado bind, the end. And it really feels like almost like it could be a mount. Like there's something we're not seeing there that's like, that it opens new possibilities. Yeah.
There's actually this like young girl on TikTok that just did the world's first DNA with 3 yo-yos at the same time.
Yeah,
it's really cool that like I didn't think that was possible. Even I came up recently with a plane changing version of it. Well, I have the inverted DNAs.
Yeah.
I tried to call them eagle claws because grab the yo-yo like a but then TikTok just changed it to inverted DNA. But like I start from that one and then I just like plane change it forcibly and like end up in the so it goes from this to this while it's like spiraling. Which cool. I think is really cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna link. I'm not sure where Bella's from, but I saw that video. I'm gonna link that in the description. She's 13 years old, or at least she was when she created this Instagram account. She could be like 14 now. Yeah, she's
I thought she was older.
no, she's so young, and she's only got 22,000 followers, but she's got like the juice to she knows the formula, and she's like studying all the great TikTokers. So yeah, she'll be at 1 million followers at some point soon. And I was going to ask you what was the most innovative DNA bind that you've seen. For me, the one I've seen that's my favorite is the claw grind one, the eagle one. I didn't know that was yours as well, but that's like my favorite.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like that thing blows my mind. I can't do that. It blows my mind.
Yeah. I think my favorite variation, like I remember the first time I saw like Takeshi has this bind where he goes like finger spin, like jumps over his hand, and then he just like ends with the DNA. That's not like the DNA is not the highlight of the trick, but like it just like looks so well with like the whole trick. And then obviously Bella's 3 yo-yo DNA, and I think Andrew Mader had a lot of not DNAs because those are like grindwinders when they're not horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
I still consider them grindwinders. Like Andrew Mader had a ton of like binds into like those, and I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of potential. Like behind the head one is like really popular.
Yeah. There's one player, man, I wish I knew who it was. I think he's a C3 player, so he could be like Hong Kong based. All his videos are crazy finger spin videos, and most of them focus on a finger spin with a horizontal with a DNA, and just like kind of going over his body and going under, and just like doing the DNA the whole time. His videos are so sick.
That's I think it's handle is Daku something on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll try to find him.
He's actually from Japan, and I met him in person in Japan actually, and he was like showing me some tricks, and but he grows his nails like extremely long.
Oh my god!
Like his nails are so long, just so he can like when he does like the inverted version, he like grabs it with his nails, so there's like a lot less friction, so he can do it like for long times. And when he like does the finger spins, because his nails are so long, that it's like a lot less friction than if you have like a. I always cut my nails because like I work in a kitchen, so I don't have that benefit. But like, seeing him do the finger spins, like it's so much easier for him to get like long spins because his nails are so extremely long.
Yeah. So, do you have any tips for people on how to get a pretty looking tornado bind?
I would say like spread out your hands a little bit. Like don't be too close when you bind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel you need to hit that sweet spot of it, like hitting the bind, and like you don't want to like have too much of a loop when you bind it. That way you can like get a longer, more like prettier tornado or DNA.
Mm-hmm. Cool, that's
Since
great
like
advice.
if you keep your hands too close together, it's like gonna be like really short, and like you won't get like the full. Yeah, I mean, that's my advice, and like a good finger spin advice that I don't hear people talk about is that catching the yo-yo, use your knees. It's literally like kendama. You want to hit that soft landing so it doesn't like bounce off. So you follow like down with the yo-yo for like a softer landing.
That's great advice.
Oh, yeah.
I am terrible at I think my finger binds are okay, and my DNA binds are absolutely horrific. And I do kind of wonder if I'm choking up if I'm throwing too close. Not giving myself enough string, but also when that bind happens, it's going to be kind of big, and I think it maybe causes a lot of air friction or something, because I feel like I don't get those long spins. So maybe I should try throwing from further back.
Yeah, you can try that, and it's just like it also depends on the yo-yo you're using, the response. Like you have to like adjust to every single yo-yo you use. I guess like most of the yo-yos, I guess like a 4.5 to 4.6 millimeter gap, and like the silicone pads are like kind of a standard. So like most yo-yos are the same, but like there's also always like a slight adjustment like for the response system of your yo-yo and the string, of course.
So finally, I just kind of want to hear about what you're working on now with Reykjavic return tops. Do you have anything you can tell us about that?
I've been taking a little bit of a break, but we're restarting production really soon. I've just been like busy. I was just in charge of opening a new pizzeria recently, so all my attention has pretty much been there. I was going to release two new models, two new bimetals, and I think a lot of people were excited for them. But in the end, I decided that the quality did not meet my standards. Like, I still think they're like A-grade quality from a lot of like they would be A-grade quality from a lot of like other companies. But what I want is like something that feels a little bit more premium. So I won't do this normal online release for it. I'll only sell them in person at contests, and that is like the Puffin.
Oh, the Puffin.
And yeah, the Puffin and the second run of the Mjolnir. So
the Mjolnir definitely has that fingerspin area. I can definitely see that cup in the Mjolnir.
I mean, it's still like it's convex. So actually not. I generally don't like dimple yo-yos. I feel like if you do that design, you always have to add like a lot of like center weight, unless you do like the cap design that like some of the Yo-Yo Factory yo-yos have, including the DNA. And like the checkpoint pivot, like the pivot yo-yos. And I think actually the best yo-yo out there right now for fingerspins is the Baby by my friend Peter Kafka, former Caribou team member.
Cool.
But have you tried one?
No.
I think it would be right up your alley.
Yeah.
It's like it has the classic feeling of like the capped yo-yo, but it has like the modern performance and like the organic feel.
That's cool, man.
So,
well,
yeah, I think you could like that.
Yeah, Palli, I really appreciate your time today. If people want to learn more about you and Reykjavic return tops, what's a good place to find you online?
Palli Valti at Instagram, and then my company is at rvk.rt.
I appreciate your time today, Palli. Really awesome chatting with you, and I learned a lot. Thanks so much, and thanks to everyone who's watching this episode. Huge shout out to my sponsors over on patreon.com/docpop. Special shout out to Taka from Spin Gear, John Federeghi, and John Anderson, who help sponsor the show at the gold level. So yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time for more yo-yo history.
See you.